Hello and welcome to another episode of Toronto Ultra's Merc and Maven podcast. Today we have the one, the only, Accuracy, the Iceman. You've had a wild and wacky career, and we're going to cover a lot of it and get into a bunch of topics. But first off, how we doing, boys? Lamar, you guys just got back into scrims for the first day, right?
Yeah, we took a little break after the major because Amir had to go back to Australia, handle some stuff. I went home, see family. Okay. So we took a little break. It was a little more extended than we wanted to, but family stuff comes first. So everyone needed a little reset, and then we're back to business today.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I mean, sometimes people think you have to grind all the time. Like Draws in the last one's like, I just grind. That's me. But I think a lot of people need that.
No balance.
Need the family time, right? Joe, your son is teething. How you doing?
It's been a long day. It's been a day, dude. There's nothing you can really do. Put him down though. He's going to bed right now, so we're good to go. But it's been, you hear about it, but you don't really know what to do about it. There's not a lot you can do, so you just smile through whatever he's dealing with, but you just distract him as much as you can. That's why we need you here. You'd be good at that, Maeve.
Oh, dude, I loved it. I just got to be good at that. And he just like smiles when he sees me, and I have a blast. He thinks I'm a giant baby. That's amazing.
You are.
Typically, we hop right into kind of the guest and going into detail on them. Before we get there, there was a couple things that went down recently in the CDL that we're going to touch on. Some news just came out like today, so we're going to hit on it. First thing, we saw Rambo Ray was released. I did see there was like a social media person I saw that left or was removed, a production person. I saw a couple tweets go out. But Joe, thoughts?
I mean, this doesn't surprise me too much. If you know Rambo at all, a super competitive person. I think, a lot of people who are like, he's an optic. He's, Hector's talked about like he's family. But Ray just isn't the type of guy to just sit back and do content. Like even when he was doing content, like that's just not Ray. He's very competitive. Obviously I think he would love to coach a team. That's what he wants to do. But I think if he's going to get an opportunity elsewhere, he will probably take it. I think he just likes the core unit of a team and going through the struggles and the successes with them. And that's just who he is. I think a lot of other people, I mean, even like, someone like me, say if I was in that position, I'd probably maybe stream and make content, but that's just not him. Like, I don't think that's what he wants to do every day. He wants to be in the pit with his guys and go 100%. So I think like to maybe some it's a surprise, but to me it's not. Just knowing him and the type of person that he is, I know he wants to win. And if he gets a chance to do it, he's going to take that chance.
Well, it's funny because we were talking to Lamar before this about like I was talking about single player games and Star Wars and stuff, and you both were like, it's tough for us to play this stuff because it's not like competitive. You don't get the dopamine. Like you need so like hard. That. You need like that itch. I know it's a little different, but like he wants to be in the pit. But Lamar, thoughts on like kind of Ray not being in the picture?
That's the vibe I got too. Like I know from the conversation I've ever had with Ray, he's a diehard competitor. Like Joe said, he wants to be in the trenches. He wants to be with the boys, like working on that progress, like the struggle. I honestly thought it would happen, but I thought it would happen at the end of the season. To me, it was like a little weird timing because there's only like 1 or 2 months left. So I thought it would kind of be like ride out, go into the off season, and then whatever happens from there. So I was kind of surprised at the timing, but it still doesn't catch me too off guard because he hasn't been involved with the team in so long. Like eventually you're gonna get tired of just sitting on your hands and doing nothing.
Yeah, we'll see what's next. We know he has been a competitive bowler, golfer. Like he is just into
everything, chess.
Yeah,
like
he's had a lot of success too, man. Yeah. Like he really has. Like I know a lot of people. I mean, even when I teamed with him, like individually, he wasn't the most skilled player, but he always figured it out. Like,
dude, Ray's a legend, bro. They got to put respect on his name.
Yeah, I think it's just like he needs to find the right home in a way. Because I know we know Ray. We're friends with Ray. Love Ray, but like he's a bit different, like just interacting with him, like he's got to find, I don't know how to word it, like the right spot, the right fit, and like I think he'll be legendary as a coach and with a team. But
he was my inspiration for a little bit too when I was on the come up. Like actually when I was like playing GBs back in the day when I was younger, I stole his bio. I don't know if I saw it on his GB account or something when I was just like looking at pros. It was like winning is teaching, losing is learning, and I like put that in my Xbox 360 like bio. So when I play GBs, people would message me like, oh, like you're a Rambo fan, like blah blah, and I'm like, hey, that line was hard. That's good. Little like 12-year-old me like putting in my bio, like
it's true. It is true.
that's an amazing tidbit. But now I always love Ray because like when I first switched over from Halo, he's the one that took Gandhi and I to rank play and taught us COD. Like he was one that he had no reason to. We weren't boys yet. He just was like, "Hey, I'll help you." I was like, "All right." I mean, he's just he's a great dude. But next, all right. So Joe and I have said for a long time, and this isn't like solving the overall issue, but like we know that COD's more North American focused with the CDL. Like it is what it is, like the NBA in some ways when it comes to that. But like there is talent in Europe, and when I watch CS, all I think is, man, I wish we had these big teams from Germany and France and Spain, and it's much more global. I know one of the things when the CDL started that we were pissed about is we wanted Heretics involved, like them and like Vitality and Fabi come to mind. We wanted them involved so bad. Like they just have such a fan base. The viewership alone has been awesome. And it seems, Joe, that might finally be happening.
Yeah, it's just a rumor. I don't want us to get in trouble in any way, but usually it seems like there's like some copyright, documents that went down. Well,
and we know they wanted in at the beginning, or that was the speculation that they were trying to get a spot and didn't. So, I mean, it lines up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think first of all, these guys, I think it's amazing for this roster who, I mean, by the end of Black Ops 4, they were a top 6 team. They were competing with the best.
They had my number in Black Ops 4. They had my number. Yeah. They beat me at like 2-3 tournaments, no joke.
They were a very good team. There was just it just felt like individually they came up short with some of the top teams, but they were getting better and better, right? They had that passion. And I'm going to say for Florida, I think this is a genius move. I'll put it out there because I think if the fan base is still there, I assume it is of some sort, there's probably a ton of people who are still very interested in this space, especially if this becomes the team. Mutineers could go from a bottom 3, bottom 2 like fan base to top 4, like without a doubt. If that fan base can get going, I mean, the Spanish stars on Twitch are massive. They have some of the biggest viewership records out there. So I just think this is a great move for the business side of Heretics, and it's great
if
for the
it
league.
Happens. Yeah, if it
of
happens.
Course. Right, if it happens, yes.
Aren't the Heretics owners like super, super famous YouTubers? Like they're super popping?
Yes.
Yeah, so like that'll be dope for the CDL. I think they should I saw the rumored roster or whatever, but I think it's an absolute shame, and I'll be mind blown if that Real guy is not on the team. That kid's good, so they should get him off that Rocker Academy.
He's with
team.
Rocker, right?
Yeah, he's on their academy team. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if he's in their sub or not though.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, because that's what they might be thinking too. Is we don't want to lose this guy. So, yeah, I know. I'm excited for Vamos, dude. Vamos.
When they came in the league in Black Ops 4, I was one of them yelling, watching the LCQ or whatever to get in when they were winning. I was for sure spamming Vamos, yelling. It was such a hype storyline.
Yeah, and they just played like I think it was just such a breath of fresh air, like in the arena, because it could be tough. The pros are used to it, but those guys just played with so much passion and energy because they knew the opportunity at hand every single match. Yeah, and that's what you're looking for. So I'm excited.
It felt like, even though a lot of those guys were like veterans, it felt like when a rookie or an AM comes in the league, like I don't know, when Draza came first in as an example, like how hungry they are, like the passion. Yeah. It's not the same, but like that's how they were, because it was like, we got this shot in the States, like let's take advantage of it. No, you're totally right. It was amazing. We want to touch on what there's new CDL blueprints, so you could check those out in the store. I haven't grabbed any yet because I've been grinding the Star Wars game, but I plan to.
Oh, they're also okay. So I was gonna say I wanted to, the Seattle Surge one's probably a top 4 one. Ultra as well. The Surge one is dope. So these blueprints, the orgs got to design themselves. They're only for the Vaznev. Sub players are blessed. But
they have the God gun and the blueprints. Like, damn.
Yeah, the Ultra one is dope. I'm trying to think. FaZe made like their own diamond camo, like the zombie one. I'm trying to think what else. There's another. The Boston one's actually really dope. So I mean, check those out. Support the teams. But I think that was really cool. Something that owners have been vocal about. The community's been vocal about. They wanted these blueprints and camos to have their own personalities, and these very much do. Like Surge's is like it's like a shark or something. I don't even know.
It's sick. All I know is it looks sick. I wish I could put it on my AR, but it does look sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like you said, kind of. It's just a good step in general, because I think we were. Listen, it's a whole longer conversation about the support that we get for the CDL, but like at the beginning, I mean, some of the skins we'd get for the orgs were laughable.
Yeah.
The merchandise, like the attire you buy at events, was like just league operated. Like it couldn't be created by the teams. We got like those signatures, which some were honestly the only ones I remember were the dog shit ones because like the signatures were hilarious. But like it seems like that's a good step between just like teams, CDL, devs. So
Yes.
hopefully
I
there's
agree.
more.
I think they're sick. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. No, totally. Just I hope that's one step along a very long path we have. But all right, let's anything else you want to touch on quick, Joe, before we hop into Lamar's sexy ass?
I don't think so. I think that was it. He's got a career, man. We were going through it, so I'm excited to jump into this one. Yeah.
We won't like spend a ton of time on the early years and stuff. But let's get going. First off, we asked this to like every guest. Just how'd you get into competitive COD? Like where was your start? You said the Rambo thing, which is very fucking cool, but like where'd it go?
So honestly, me stumbling upon competitive COD was a complete blessing, anomaly, like insane chance. So I was going to private school, and then I switched to public school in the middle of middle school, 7th grade. My first class ever in public school. I sat down next to a kid, new to the school. I don't know anyone. Just start chopping it up with him. Next to me, he's like, "Yo, you play COD?" And at this point, I was already addicted. But like, I was playing pubs, and I just thought I was like the man, like 10 prestige, 55, like COD 4, like yeah, I got a 2.0, like
gold cross.
Yeah, like I'm the GOAT. And he's like, "You play COD?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I play COD." Like, do I? You know? And then he's like, "Oh, like add me, let's play, whatever." So the first kid I ever interact with in public school, I add him, go back home, we play like 1-on-1 that night, and I absolutely body him like 30 to like 2 or something. And he's like, "Yo, like, have you heard of game battles?" And I'm like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And then he made an account for me, and he made my original account that I still use. He made it for me.
No way.
Yeah, he made it for me, and he's like, "Yo, let's play like GBs or whatever." And I'm like, "Bro, what is this?" And then that's when I found out like I'm not actually the man. Like I knew there's people that are way better than me, you know?
Yeah.
So I started playing GBs with that, playing with my school friends, and then that's when the addiction just took over.
I think we all have that. We've talked about with a couple other guests, but like even me, the non-pro, like I was the best in Halo and kicking the shit out of everyone in college and stuff. And then I met like Xena, Bonnie Burton of the Burton family and JMB, who was SDK at the Ogres Clan back then. I played with like them and just got fucking Hey, my first like LAN I went to was at Park City Mall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I played against a 13-year-old girl who shit on me. And I was like,
you had a rude awakening, bro.
I was like, all right, well, I got a lot to learn. It was very eye opening, but I think we all kind of have that moment to some degree.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, kind of
complete freak chance. Yeah, like if I sat down next to anyone else, like who knows? Who knows if I would have even found out what game battles was or whatever it is.
I remember the first time I had a sketch on my schools from my friends from school.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm way too good for you guys. I'm sorry.
Same thing.
It's time. Yeah, it's time. Like you start meeting some other people through GB, start playing with them, and you're like, listen, guys, is a hell of a run, but we gotta. It's like the Fast and Furious when you're driving the opposite ways. That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, but for me, they didn't know that I kept playing. They just thought I stopped playing. It was a secret for me. It was like a whole Hannah Montana double life, like. They didn't know I kept playing. I just like kind of fell off the grid and didn't like play with them anymore. And they would just see me at school. I'm like, yeah, like I don't really do that anymore too much, blah blah blah. And then, but I was secretly just like grinding with other people, like trying to get better and like get.
What are you doing tonight, bro? I got a project, got homework.
Yeah, literally. I'm with my fam, or I'm sick, I'm busy. Like I don't know, you know.
Yeah, you're just grinding GBs, dude. That's awesome. Man, that's where it all started.
Okay, well, that's where the beginning was. Before we get into like sort of the MLG era and stuff, I just want to talk about a couple, maybe not hot topics with you, but just sort of key things that have been around you, at least for a good part of your career. I think one that always sticks out, like I know leadership in COD is sometimes overstated or exaggerated in the sense of we don't have like in-game leaders like CS or something, but there is definitely leadership that is needed. And where sometimes it's been people have been called out or like the leader tag has sort of fallen off or gone away. With you, it's sort of always been a thing, like this leadership thing and like sort of the my way or the highway, or like you have a vision of how you want the game to be played and like you will enforce that. Like, I guess I want to know where that sort of started for you and just tell me a little bit about what you want and expect when you're on a team.
I mean, of course you want to expect perfection and consistency. To me, that's the biggest thing is like playing the game in a consistent manner because that's the way you're going to get results. Because the people in COD that win or do the best are the people that just make mistakes the least often. So if you have a consistent way and a consistent pattern, to me, that's how you get the most reliable like results if you're executing that plan. The leadership thing kind of like I never like come in the room or came into situation like, oh, like I run this, like this is the way it's going. It's kind of just like a natural occurrence. We're just having team discussions about the game, whatever it is, and it kind of just happened to like start going that way. You know what I mean? But that tag, I do appreciate having it. It comes with its positives and negatives. Like
Yeah.
the positives are great. Like when things are going good, it's like, wow, this guy's so good. It's amazing. He's so smart, whatever. When it's going bad, it's like, to me internally, I'm like, damn, it's on me. Like maybe I orchestrated the wrong plan or maybe I had us doing the wrong thing. So, I'll be my harshest critic when it comes to the defeats or, that's always my number one question when things are going wrong. Like, damn, did I set us up with the wrong GP, like wrong game plan, or am I, handling something the wrong way? But in game, in the moment, it's definitely more of a team thing. Yeah, it has to be. Not one person can take over. I feel like most of the leadership stuff kind of has to be done in the practice room and leading up to the matches to get everyone on the same page, whatever it is. Because in the moment, everyone has to do their part.
Do you remember like? It's tough for me because like when I was coming up, like I got like the first time I like dropped was by like Rambo and Big T, and that just like stuck with me. And they're like, "You're just playing the game wrong," and I was like, "I don't really know what you mean by that. Like I don't get it. I don't know what you're saying." Right. So that was like a learning thing for me. But do you remember like when like you kind of understood like what those mistakes were and what you kind of had to figure out for your team?
Yeah. So for me, it started clicking like more directly after AW. After AW, I started getting more of a sense of like, oh, okay, this is how you rotate. This is how you avoid a situation. Oh, this actually wasn't very unfortunate. Like you put yourself in a bad spot. That's not unfortunate. You didn't get unlucky. Like there's a way to play to avoid these circumstances and these mistakes and make the game play the way you want it to be played, not just reacting to what's happening on your screen or what's happening in the situation. You want to control the environment, So that's kind of after AW it started clicking for me.
I think it's like, and maybe why you've sort of gotten into this leadership role. It's like whether like that seems like it's something that clicked like for you from your perspective and your gameplay, whereas like we had Bance on and Bance was sort of like he got on that ultra team and like where they're like working on stuff and play, he's like, holy fuck, he's like, I've been dog shit. I've been playing like an idiot until this point. Like, which is funny to hear with some of the moments he had, but it like clicked for him, I think, because like the team was on, but it seems like yours was maybe more like a personal introspective thing.
Yeah, because I've always been a student of the game. More like also like I've been a fan, So like I watch all the games. I watch VOD. I'd be like watching all the other matches. So for me, it was just like I wouldn't watch just like oh, I'm just vegging out on the couch watching the matches or whatever it is. Like I was watching like intently. So then I start picking up little trends, notice things, and then that's kind of like it was just helping me click and like realize, wait, these guys are champions. They're winning this. What are they doing on this map? I'd watch a couple of their maps. I'm like, wait, they're doing the same thing every time here. Okay, there's a consistent way to do X, Y, and Z. And it kind of just like started clicking in my head.
I mean, I'm sure you know by now, but like, yeah, a lot of people, they just don't. I mean, dude, it's sometimes they just don't get it. Like it's really hard to sort of drill into their minds. Like it's just not a simple shooter at times. It's just like one wrong thing and it's a domino effect. And just sort of like game planning and having those rules and trying to explain why you're doing such things for a lot of players, it can take a long time. It can be a process.
Yeah, and COD's so high pressure and split second like decisions that like if you have to come into a situation and make a spur of the moment decision, there's a very good chance you made the wrong one and you're just going to lose. So but if you come into situations and like you already talked through all the possibilities and you decipher, hey, this is the best decision, the moment arises, if it clicks in your brain and you remember, oh, this is that thing that we talked about, boom, you know the best decision to make, you're going to consistently get results. But the other stuff is just random. It might work, it might not, who knows? It's such high pressure and such like close timings.
Whatever that's like called, like that click, because like I feel like that exists with like so many things. Like I don't know whether you're doing a puzzle or learning a game or math growing up. Like I remember that in like trigonometry or something. Like you're doing it. It's like, what the fuck is this?
You remember trigonometry?
No. I mean just in general, like there's like that click. It's like, oh, like I get it, but I think that exists with like what is that's gotta be called like something. But
like that 10,000 hour rule, after 10,000 hours you become like a master, So maybe that Black Ops 3 was my 10,000 hours I put in for competitive. I was like, yo, I got it. Like
yeah.
No, but that's always just generally a good feeling. Like, oh, I get it now. This kind of makes sense. All right. One thing you've the leadership tag has come, but then you said kind of the good and the bad. One of the bads is I think you've kind of partially because of the leadership, partially statistically at times, you've sort of been that like scapegoat for a team. Like things are going wrong, and even if like Joe at a high level may know it's not your fault, when it comes to fans, they look at Katie and you're sort of the one thrown under the bus. What's it been like, kind of? I guess dealing with that, because I think that's kind of been a constant at times through your career.
Oh yeah, it's been basically forever. Yeah, maybe besides World War II.
Your whole career, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, basically like the thing is I'm okay with that. Like I don't really mind. I'm pretty good at tuning out like the fan noise. The biggest thing for me and just anyone that's in a position like that or whatever it is, they're underperforming or statistically underperforming or anything like that, where there's a lot of outside noise. The biggest thing is just having that reassurance and confidence from your team. If you don't have that, then it could definitely, get to you. But if you have that reassurance and your team has that confidence in you and they still show that belief, then it's easy to just tune out. But sometimes there is times where my fingers are itching. I'm like, bro, I'm about to write an essay breaking this down on why your comment is so dumb, but like, I just can't do it. Like, whatever, I'll let it rock. You got to let it roll off your shoulder. Because like you said, at a high level, it's super like meticulous, so breaking it down to people to make them understand is pretty hard.
I still get on Reddit a bit, but
they hate me on there. They hate me on there.
It's very minimal. Me too. It's very little that I'll get on there.
Yeah.
Because like there are a lot of great people, a lot of people that get it, but there's just it's like ignorance. I don't mean ignorance like dumb. I mean ignorance and like literally like a lack of knowledge, like a lack of understanding. But like anytime I want to like explain something, I'm like, I get up in this 40 response combo and have to write an essay. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I just
letting this slide. Mate, you argue with people all the time.
on Twitter, yeah.
I'd be seeing you fire them shots off.
We'll literally argue for hours with people.
I will on Twitter, because it's like Twitter feels like texting almost. It's like fast. Like I'll sort of do that. It's like different. I don't know. I don't view it the same way. But
I love seeing those tweets. When I see you popping off on someone, I'm like, this is great. Get them.
Every now and then, it just depends on my mood. Like sometimes I can just see it and be like, idiot. But then every now and then I'm like, it's so dumb. I'm like, what the fuck?
You can't hold it in, bro.
And then you retweet it, and then you reply, and then their friends or someone else replies agreeing, and you just go. He eats
it up. Look at him. He eats it up.
Trait. He loves it. He looks forward to it, dude. He
sometimes it just depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
I think it's majority of the times yes. Honestly, yeah. The only time usually if like you're playing a game that's distracted you. That's one of his things. I don't know.
Well, that's probably why I use social less now. Like in general, I use Reddit less.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people are doing that. And I think it's especially like in our profession. I mean, Lamar's profession, like being a pro player. I mean, I went through it. Like when I was playing, you read stuff enough, you're gonna start to believe like parts of it, right? And that's where as actually was saying, like you have your reassurance from your team, and I think that's a cultural change that's happened from years and years ago, and kind of the situations to the level of profession these teams are at now, back then when I played, but that was not the thing. I mean, if you enough shit was being talked, dude, like you don't know if you're getting dropped the next day, because it could happen. It could happen.
Don't know
now at least you got a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, like one comment could just plant a seed in someone's mind, whether that's in your camp somewhere, and that could just start sprouting and growing, and all of a sudden that just festers and it's done. The camp's broken from the inside.
That's crazy to think about. I mean, I'm sure it's happened to everyone, but yeah, you're not wrong. Like back when teams are streaming scrims and stuff, you read some enough times, and then someone's probably gonna say it, or they're gonna be thinking it, and then once they're thinking it, they're gonna start noticing it, and then once you start noticing it, you're done. Toast. Toast.
Once you notice it, they start obsessing over it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like you just can't get over it. Like, yo, there's that thing again, and you're like, all right, it's over. It's just that's it.
Well, that's why, like, when the thing happened with Shane, a couple weeks ago with him, like, sitting behind Optic, and, like, a couple of people in our replies were like, oh, if that's okay, then why don't teams stream scrims? And I'm like, listen, man, it's not because of like a strategy thing, even though people will say that. It is because it's a distraction thing. It is the comments that will come into it, the drama that will get raised. It is just literally a distraction, and it leads to stuff like this. I mean, I think that was a perfect example how stuff just gets blown in. Nothing gets turned into everything.
Bro, it's a huge distraction because like you guys have seen teams the way we act during scrims. I'm sure you've seen it too, Joe. Like it gets heated, you know. Like sometimes some arguments or some comments, or whatever, is like you're trying to win. There's testosterone flowing in the room. Everyone's amped up and on edge. So like sometimes it gets heated, and maybe in that space, right? Like in your team's room, everyone's so comfortable with each other that like things can be said aggressively or whatever it is, and like no one will get offended. But if someone gets like ego checked or something in public, they're gonna feel some type of way even more, and maybe that could like cause, you know, arguments or whatever it is, you know. So that's why I personally think streaming scrims, like that's like the issue with it. You're distracted on your chat. Maybe you feel some type of way if someone says something to you in public or ridicules you or criticizes you or whatever. So that's why I think a closed space for practice is like better.
Yeah, no,
I mean, players are humans. I mean, there just might be a day you wake up and you're just having a bad, and no matter what, like maybe that's just the time when you're like, hey, we're not practicing today. I can't do it or whatever it is. But sometimes that turns into arguments and yelling. Like, players are. It
gets heated. Yeah, like you're four people wanting the best out of each other. You're gonna get mad sometimes. That's life. That's competition. If anyone's been in any high level competitive environment, that's just natural.
And, you don't need a full Reddit post say, "Oh my God, accuracy hates Pred. Accuracy dropping Pred. Pred hates accuracy. Accuracy back to Australia."
Exactly.
It just explodes. All right. Listen, I was talking about ignorance earlier. This is something that I'm very ignorant about. I don't have a huge understanding or knowledge on it, but you know, we hear about it with like you and I think Asim and stuff yearly, you know, when Ramadan is going on. You know, Joe mentioned that it was going on a couple weeks ago, but I was thinking about having you come on an episode. He's like, maybe we do it another time. And I guess, I mean, we don't have to go into detail, whatever you're comfortable with, but like, I know there are things that you need to do that have to make it a little more difficult, I imagine, to compete at this level. I guess I just wonder what it's like.
Yeah, so I mean, Ramadan, if people aren't familiar with that, it's where you can't drink or eat anything from dawn till dusk. So like around like 5-ish a.m. until sunset, which was around over here, it was like 7:30, 7:40 for a while. You can't eat anything, you can't drink anything. So, you know, coming to that practice room every day, you're just nonstop yapping, talking, you can't even drink water, like you're kind of drained, a little bit lethargic because like you just can't get any energy, no food, no water. So that definitely makes it harder. But you know, there's people that are Muslim that compete in way more rigorous things than we do, like Premier League. They're in the World Cup. They're NBA players, fighters.
Think about that. That's
like wild. and they're all doing it, you know. So that's just something that, you know, we as Muslims just have to, you know, we do, and it's a holy month for us. So for us, we kind of just like let that roll off and try to be, you know, keep your faith in it, and you just do what you got to do.
Yeah, I guess for you, it probably feels a little like out of touch to say, like, oh, I'm struggling. There's people that are playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's hard. No,
I remember watching like basketball, like Kyrie. He's Muslim. He waits till a certain point, and then you'll see him eating on the bench, like stuff like that. Like, once it's dust. So yeah, I learned a lot through like Rami, obviously back with like Leops, but
that's my boy.
Yeah, dude, that I like the whole water thing. I didn't realize that.
You can't chew gum.
Food, water. I just can't. I
especially like communicating the way that you do day to day. But I will say this year, especially, you played extremely well. Like during that time, is it almost to a point where the energy you do have left? Like, are you just focused on the game? Like, is it almost like you're putting all of that, like when someone's sick or whatever, they just kind of do what they can, or you just, all right, someone else is going to have to step up communication wise. I'm just going to be in my spots, shoot as straight as I can.
Yeah, definitely. So two things happened for me that changed it. One is Ramadan a couple seasons ago, I got dropped by Rocker because I was extremely underperforming during that split during Ramadan. So for me, ever since then, every Ramadan, I'm like, yo, like, let me sit up. Like, let me
don't get dropped again.
Like, let me super lock in for this. And then, so, you know, putting that extra effort in during that time period. And then two, it is also what you said, like, normally for me when I'm practicing, of course, I spend time on my own game. You know, everyone's responsible for themselves, but just the way my mind works, a lot of my attention is diverted to like what's the team doing? What's our plan? How are we breaking
Mini-map,
this
yeah.
hill? Mini map, like you're looking at your mini map while you're playing or whatever's going on. But in that moment, like you said, I already know I'm kind of at a disadvantage. So at that point, I'm like, I just need to worry about me, like make sure I'm doing good or make sure I'm focusing on myself because I just don't have the energy to expend to just focus on everything else right now. You know, you still do what you can, but that like ratio of energy gets focused a little more like here's what you need to do.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, I can only think of like it's just when I've been really tired, a horrible night of sleep. Every now and then, like I'm more locked in a weird way because I just don't care what's going on. I just sort of play, and I don't know.
Yeah, I just got yes. I mean, I've said it on the podcast before, but I mean, I had some tournaments in college. I was just. It's not even close to compare, but extremely hungover.
Oh,
that's just like all you could do. That's like I don't. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Exactly.
It's different, but like you kind of just like, all right,
whatever.
I'm just gonna play and hope it goes well. Well, let's get into sort of where it began. Like we're gonna start where I wanted to touch on. Like I know it looked like you kind of in Black Ops 2 had a couple online things, and then Ghost is where you started doing more online stuff, and then AW is where you more got in the mix. I just want to talk about kind of like your first, from what I could see, like sort of success story. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when it was you, Hook, TJ, and Happy, and you got top 6 at season 1 playoffs in AW. And for me, that's sort of what put you on the map a bit.
Yeah, I mean, so I was kind of like known throughout Black Ops 2 and Ghost as like a top am, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Because I got like top 12 at some tournaments and like people knew me, but I never fully competed. I always quit. I went to 2 tournaments each year and just quit the rest of the season because my parents wanted me to like focus on school and like other stuff like that.
It looks a little weird on like when I was looking at
so I was like popping in and out. Yeah, I'd be popping in and out and then just like go Ghost for like 6 months and then come back, like play a tournament or 2 and then like disappear.
Double agent, 2 lives.
Yeah, literally. And then AW is when I kind of was like, okay, I'm like, I want to do this. I'm not gonna quit randomly in the middle of the year. I'm gonna keep playing the whole time. But yeah, that Aware team was probably my first like real shot to contend with pros and like make a name and be like a competitor, you know. That team was really fun, man. It's so funny. MLG probably still has paperwork. We went to that tournament. I had to sign the parental form for all 3 of them because they were all like 16 and I was like 19 or 18 or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll be your dad, guys. Like, I was signing all the paperwork. Yeah.
That's so good. So then what? Team Falls Apart, is that because they were under 18? Is that why?
Yeah, so that's when Champs was in the middle of the year. So they were all under 18. I couldn't play with any of my teammates going into Champs. So I had to go find a whole new team, which was definitely way worse than my old team of Huke, Happy, and TJ, who were like superstars at that time. And then we had a disappointing finish at Champs. I think we got like top 12 or something. We got reverse swept for top 8 versus TK. And then from there, just, even worse, our league spot got sold. Aware Gaming sold our league spot to TCM. That's when the Europeans came into the league, and they sold it after the qualifiers. So I couldn't even try to re-qualify. And I was like, well, this is great. Like, nice. I lost
that was like one of the first situations for that too. Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about. Like Black Ops 3, it looked like when I was looking through it, it looked like you failed to qualify at the invite with like Orbit. So anyway, when did this spot?
That happened in AW.
Oh, AW. I was thinking, I was thinking like start a CDL, a CWL. Okay.
Start a CWL. I have a story for that too. Don't worry.
Oh, no. I put it down. It seems like it was a fucking real fun time.
We both had a great time.
Yeah.
You and Joe got something in common.
Yeah. So when they Aware sold, I literally remember I was sitting in chemistry class, taking notes, doing my thing because I was still going to school at the time, and I get a text like, "Yo, like, do you see this? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I go look at it, and it's like Aware Gaming sold spot TCM, and I'm scratching my head in class like, I was just talking to the owner. He was booking our flights for the tournament in like 2 weeks. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? And then the owner just goes, Ghost, not responding to me on Skype. That's when we used to use Skype back then. I'm like, yo, like, what the hell? Like, blah, 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 blah. And then the qualifiers were already done, so we couldn't even like re-get a spot. So that kind of was like super crazy, unfortunate circumstances.
I think that changed the rules. I'm pretty sure that changed the rules, if I remember right. Because then from that time forward, I'm pretty sure if that was to happen, like 2 players from that roster that qualified had to stay on the team.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, bro, what is life right now? I finally make it to the league, good team. Then I can't play with them because of Champs. And then I'm like, okay, it's all good. Champs is over. Back to business. league spot sold. Everyone on my team we're all free agents at the time, of course, because the league spot got sold. Everyone starts getting picked apart, going to different teams, and I'm just sitting there scratching my head like, what just happened? Like,
This
what
has
is
been
my
a year.
life? Yeah,
That was basically like a franchise league without any of the positives of
Yeah.
franchise league.
exactly.
Sorry, before they changed the rule.
Yeah,
Interesting. I forgot that like that was a thing before the CWL. I thought that kind of
Mhm.
started with the CWL with like the spots and stuff.
yeah,
Let's talk about so you get the top 6, things fall apart before champs in AW, and then we get to Black Ops 3 and the CWL, and it's kind of a crazy restart for a lot of people in the sense of, well, it just kind of changes hands. It goes to ESL, Activision, like consumer marketing, and their franchise side's more involved. And it's this different beast. A lot of orgs start coming in, like we had CLG, Cloud9, G2, like a lot of orgs who wanted, started to come into things, and then you and Joe let them all down. But no,
Fuck off.
so I saw there. It looks like you like failed to qualify at the invite tourney, failed to qualify in the online qualifier, and also failed to qualify at the relegation tourney. So you were going
yes.
through at the beginning?
So this is what happened. We failed to qualify with Orbit, right? And then I forgot- we played the online qualifier. I don't remember what happened. I think we just like lost or something game 5, like some crazy thing. And then from there, I joined Cloud9 or something like that, if I remember. And then they loaned
it was
me.
Cloud9.
Yeah, I'm on Cloud9. We go to South Carolina. We actually play Joe round 1, open bracket. This is when there's like no seeding or whatever. Round 1, open bracket, South Carolina. We play them. And I'll never forget this. We could go find the VOD somewhere. It's map 1
boy.
map 1 Stronghold Hardpoint. I dropped 45 with 3 minutes in the hill and lost. And I was like looking at my teammates like, yo,
Grinder.
your controller plugged in? Like, y'all
Grinded
good?
that one out.
Yeah, they ended
Is
up
that the
winning.
tourney with
Like,
all the controller issues?
yeah,
With the
exactly,
Bluetooth
exactly.
issue?
Yeah, that was the start of the Cronies. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that tourney was a shit show.
Exactly. And then
Yes,
after
it was.
that tourney, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to play with these kids. So I go talk to the C9 people. I'm like, yo, like, get me out of here. Like, loan me, sell me, whatever. So they loaned me to a struggling CLG. I joined their team like a week before the qualifiers. We just go, we lose. I was like, damn, nice. You know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not, I'm not making excuses, but those qualifiers sucked. That's why I went to League Ops and I changed them all the next year. That's all I'm saying. Okay, it was for the better. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. I want to put it out there.
You were the savior. You were the savior.
I got the league on LAN. I got double elim qualifiers. It was a good thing for the rest of my friends. That's really
it definitely helped out. And then after that, that's when the drama really started for me after that qualifier, because I was still contracted to C9. And at this point, like, I had been putting up good performances in all these qualifiers or whatever it is, but obviously there was no team success. And at that point, Elevate and Luminosity both were interested in picking me up, and they were like 2 of the top 4 teams at the time, like 3rd and 4th basically. And then Cloud9 held me to some insane buyout. They wanted like 12 grand for me, and I was like, bro, Optic bought Formal for 15 grand. I'm not Formal. Like, no one's paying 12 grand to buy me. Like, what are you guys doing? You know, like, you're gonna literally ruin my career. And then they were kind of like, no, like, we deal with these buyouts, whatever. They thought it was like League, bro. Like, no one's paying this money.
Yeah, once these big orgs came in, like, that weren't used to COD, they were used to League and CS. Like, it was just
exactly. So I was talking to Elevate and the LG players, and they're like, yeah, we're trying to get you. They're trying to work out the deal, but they want a crazy buyout. So I'm like on my end begging them, like, please, like, this is my chance. Finally, I could like join like a top team. Like, let me go to one of them. I don't care which one. Like, whichever one works the deal out. And they kind of stuck to their guns, held the buyout, and then both teams ended up picking like free agents up or something. And I was like, well, now I'm screwed. And then at the end of that split or that season, like of that time period of stage 2 or something, they just messaged me on Skype. Yeah, you're released. I was like, damn, you could have done this a month ago. Like,
wow,
perfect. Thanks, guys. And then after that, it was kind of just a downward spiral for me.
Well, that's kind of what I want to touch on. So like that, after failing to qualify the relegation tourney, Joe's career ended, but you decided to continue and battle on. And listen, you played for like CLG, Cloud9, G2, a bunch of like big orgs. No real notable placements over this next stretch before we get to like TK and the kind of the next chapter. But at that point, you had been competing for a couple of years.
Already, this story's insane. Like, dude, this guy, like, what is happening,
bro? You could write a book. Like, it's the most unlucky craziness of all time.
Well, I guess I just wonder, like, how did you decide to keep going? Because just to be blunt, it didn't fucking start well.
Yeah, it didn't start well. So the funny
I lost one series and left, bro. Like,
So the funniest thing about it is, you know that meme that people tweet out where like the guy's digging and then he stops right before the diamonds?
Yeah.
That was literally me. I quit in IW. Like after this little stretch with G2, we didn't make the league. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm not playing anymore. It's chalked. I didn't touch a controller for 3 weeks. I was like, I'm actually done. I'm just gonna focus on school and like family stuff, whatever, and move on. Like this chapter's closed. I didn't make the league. I'm not wasting my year, just playing in the pit. And then I didn't touch a controller for 3 weeks, and CWO Anaheim was coming up. And some of my friends hit me up. It was like Sender, Diabolic, and like Ivy or something. They're like, yo, like you live in LA, like just come to the tournament, like just play with us. We need a fourth, blah, blah, blah. And I was bored that day. So I was like, all right, I'll hop on and scrim with you guys. So I get on after not playing for so long, and we happen to be scrimming TK. And literally first day on, no joke, I'm dropping 30 every map in IW and Respawn. And I'm like, wait, like my itch came back. I started scratching my neck, I started feeling good. Yeah, and I knew the TK team was better, so I messaged them. I'm like, yo, like, drop someone, pick me up. Like, whoever's your worst player, pick me up. And then it took them like a day or two, and they were like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. And then they just picked me up, and I got on TK, and then we had like a decent like little stretch. We got like top 12 or like just messing around, and then that's when we came into World War II. So if I would have quit right there, World War II would have never happened.
What was the team at the end of IW? What was it?
It's me, Happy, Theory, and Goonjar.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then going into World War II, I think Goon left. He wanted to he's been on TK for 10 years at this point, basically. So he wanted some breath of fresh air. And then we ended up picking up, who did we pick up first? Oh, we picked up Cheen first.
Theory, Kenny, Accuracy. I think is what it ended up being.
Chino. Yeah, we picked up Cheen first. And this funny story, we were going to keep Happy. But then we got on a call and we talked about it. And then Cheen said a famous line to me that like kind of stuck with me the rest of my career after that. So I'll give him a lot of credit for this. He was like, yo, like, I don't know, like, we should probably pick up someone else, like, instead of Happy. And he was like, the thing is, he's like, you got to make your teammates your friends, not your friends your teammates. And I was like, you know what? You're right. We're picking up Kenny. We picked up Kenny, and the rest is history.
That worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ken was playing AW, right? Mm-hmm. And then he wasn't 18. He went to Halo. So then was he? Did he play at the end of IW, or was just like you guys just knew?
Okay. I just knew like this kid's gonna be good. People were talking about him. Like other players were like, yeah, you should definitely pick him up. Like that kid's gonna be good. Even though he hadn't played in so long, I was like, all right, like let's do it. Let's figure it out. I actually had talked to him because one of my things that I do for when I'm like picking up new talent or just like any one of my teammates for the most part, the biggest thing for me is they have to be like a normal human being. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of weirdos in the gaming community. So I talked to Kenny and I was like, okay, this guy's super talented. Obviously, already we know that he's been to tournaments, played well. Then I was like, he has like a full ride scholarship for school, so he must be really smart. He played sports, like he's a normal kid. All right, we could work with this. Like, let's just take the chance and it should work out.
You're like, name me 3 NBA players.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a decent test. But like, did you know at the time, I guess, because you had it. Listen, it was a bumpy road. Whether you were screwed over or just fell short, whatever happened, it was rocky those first couple of years. You didn't really have a home per se. Did you kind of know like TK was kind of gonna be it, or not really when you got involved?
Funny story actually. I kind of knew it was gonna be it, and it was maybe I was just absolutely like talking out of my ass, but I remember telling Kozdov before the season, like as we made the team, when I saw him, like, watch, I promise you this is going to be the year, like, watch, like, I got you. And then we ended up winning that first tournament. I literally remember running off the stage when I saw him, and I he gave me a hug, and I was like, didn't I fucking tell you? Like, I told you. And he's like, damn, you really kept your word, bro. I was like, yep.
Well, let's talk about, I guess, Joe, this next big kind of chapter in his life.
Yeah, I mean, World War II. I mean, dude, I don't think anyone saw this TK. I don't know what it was with this team, but you guys in some insane ways. I mean, won back to back, right? I guess like for you, what made this team successful? Like looking back at it now, like,
that's basically from my perspective. What made the team successful was our energy together as a team. We all were dying for it. Like we all knew this was a life-changing year. So we grinded relentlessly together at the beginning of the game. Like, you know how back then you had to play GBs together and like you had to play GBs to get your pro points or whatever. We played all those GBs together. We literally spent 12, 15 hours a day together on TeamSpeak playing the game for the first month, like together, nonstop. And we were all just dying for it, and the game kind of clicked for each one of us, and then also as a team. So like it just felt natural for everyone, and it was just working out. Like it was honestly a perfect storm.
Yeah, how were your guys like early on? Because I know early on online, because I remember I had to watch like every single one because I was doing like league offside. Because there was a lot of Optic that won early online. How was like online for you guys? You guys did online?
Yeah, we got that's when it clicked in my head. I was like, oh my god, like we can do this. Like I think we got like second or third in the first 2K, and we ended up losing like an absolute buzzer beater game to Optic. And at that moment, we were all like, oh my god, like this is real. Like we can compete, you know? So that was kind of even more motivation, and we just took it from there. I think we ended up winning one of the 2Ks in the beginning. There was like 3 of them before the tournament. I think we got like second or third. We ended up like winning one, and then like getting top 3 again in the other one. And in my head, I'm like, this is the moment. Like we gotta capitalize.
Well,
like,
that was gonna be my next question, because like I think for a lot of people, it's, you know, you have a good team, but you're never like, you don't really know, like, all right, are we gonna, like, can we win, right? Are we at that caliber? And sometimes it's not until you get to a LAN and just things click, or I don't know, but it seems like for you, it's online. Like you just kind of knew, like, all right, this is a squad.
Yeah, because you could tell when, obviously LAN is very different than online, but like you can tell when you're winning online or competing online when like it doesn't matter if this was LAN or online. We're just playing the game better. You know what I'm saying? We just it doesn't matter what the ping is, whether we have the advantage or whatever. We know the game more. So I was feeling that energy through those tournaments, and I was like, okay, like as long as we're not just nervous wrecks and completely break when we go to the tournament, like we can compete for this, you know?
Yeah. So then you know, you guys win the first 2. It gets a little bit rocky. Then you guys add Enable and Pharaoh. You win stage 2 playoffs. You guys, I mean, you looked damn good. I know there was a lot of sort of back and forth with the whole Sheen in theory thing because you guys won early, but you guys went with that change. And then there was sort of, I mean, that champs, the entire tournament was insane. I know.
Don't remind me, bro.
An insane to double best of 5. I think most finals that year were like double best of 5. I think there were so many. Maven and I
every single one was, bro.
And then was that a double game 5? That one?
No. So the first one we were down 0-2. We reverse swept the first best of 5. Yeah, we reverse swept the first best of 5. We won that. We're super G'd up. We're like, all right, like it's our moment. Like, yeah, I'm like walking off the stage like this is just gonna make the story better. Like, come on, like we're winning it like
map
this.
1, like,
no, we lost map 1.
Oh,
no,
did you? I thought you won map 1.
Listen, that's ingrained, burned into my memory. We lost map 1. I was frying. We lost by like 5 points. I was like, I looked at the scoreboard after. I was like, damn, son. Damn. Like that was our moment, you know. And then once we lost that map 1, we like usually we're like the best hardpoint team. I think we lost like 1 hardpoint the whole tournament, or like 1 or 2 the whole tournament.
Search, right? That's like that was
exactly. So once we lost that hardpoint, kind of like after making the reverse sweep, the momentum kind of just got sucked out of us, and I mean they just outplayed us the rest of the series. So we lost 3-0 in the second best of 5.
Okay.
Was it really 3-0? What was the crazy docks? Was that the map
that
4
was the second,
or map 1?
Map 1 of the second best of 5.
Okay, I just remember a dock. Well, you guys were up in that, weren't you?
I remember that, and then like an Ardennes Forest search. Was that the game 5?
That was map 2, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
the second best of 5. Map 2 the second best of 5. Yeah.
Well,
the reverse game 5 of the first series was like crazy too. It went down to like 6-4 1v2 situation.
Dude,
F3 rest in peace clutched it up. Yeah.
Let's talk about that kind of like those moments, because this is sort of where I guess the whole Iceman nickname was born. In some of the clutches you had that year, you had several in World War II. I remember
that LG one, dude. I remember that when they like line up on with Saint Marie Dumont.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's literally my sub alert. Maven yelling that is literally my sub alert.
Dude, I feel like I've done all of them, bro. Like literally every clutch. And I guess I kind of want to know how you view it. If this is like, listen, is there something in your genes where you live for those moments and being a clutch guy, or is it more like, I'm trying to think of how to compare it, like sort of like you becoming Iceman? It makes me think of like Kobe and Black Mamba. Like he might not have percentage wise been the most clutch player, but he had the ones you remembered. Like Kobe had the clutches that like were those fucking moments that you remembered forever. And like, is it that? Like, is it the big moments for you? Or is it just like something different for you in Search when it comes to that?
I don't know what it is. I kind of like, I just feel like I go like numb, like I'm like in a different like realm. Everything's like in slow motion. I'm kind of just like my miles going at like a million miles an hour. I'm just like I don't know. It feels weird. I honestly feel like I don't feel anything in the moment. It just feels like you're in a complete flow state, like in the zone. Like I don't feel any pressure. Honestly, I want to wear like a heart monitor next time I'm on stage or something, like one that's like wrapped
That'd
around my chest and like feel it, because I would like to say like I don't even feel my heart like pounding like that. But
you find out it's just going so fast. Yeah,
you're like you're just so locked in, you don't even know. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm just grateful that I can thrive in those high pressure environments, because in a like a gig like ours, if you break in those moments and you can't handle it, you're never gonna really make it too far or have those legendary moments.
I love you because you've created some my favorite moments as a commentator. Like
I appreciate it.
Sometimes search, bro, you could have like a round 11 search, but it's like as a commentator, it's almost like boring because there weren't like any big moments, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like the rounds were all kind of methodical. There weren't any crazy situations, but like those where it's like I don't know, like around 10 or 11, and there's some 1v3 or some crazy clutch. Like it's just a shit you never forget, especially depending on if it's at a major, it's at champs. Like it's just shit you don't forget.
Yeah, I mean those moments are crazy.
I got two things now. All right, the first thing is, do you have a favorite or a couple of favorites? I know you've had a lot now. Do you have one?
Yeah, my favorite is probably my first 1v4 ever. I got it in the Dallas Grand Finals. This is the first Grand Finals appearance in my whole career. Finally make it to the big stage. I'm in the finals and I 1v4'd Splice. And I was like, damn, first time in the finals and I got a 1v4, like, shit, like, don't talk to me. I'll rise to the occasion, you know what I mean? So that's awesome. Like, that definitely hit hard. And then I think my second favorite one, wow, that'll be hard. I guess the clutch itself is not my favorite, but the moment that it meant is my second favorite. The clutch against LG in the finals, second best of 5, game 5 for the back-to-back, because of course going into the back-to-back, everyone's just like, oh, first event wonders, whatever. And getting the back-to-back kind of gives you like secures your like legacy and makes you prove like we're legitimate, like we're actually here to compete, not just we just cheesed everyone the first tournament or whatever it is. So getting that moment to like help secure that dub, which is probably why that gives me the second position.
Yeah, no, I remember. I feel like I remember it was Cap, right, watching the flank, and I think he gave it up at like the worst time.
Yeah,
I feel like I remember being in the stands, like just seeing your arrow on the minimap, just flank all the way around. Like, it was insane. And then I want to ask, at this point now, you've had this identity, and we've seen it, where you're just sticking diffuses, you're not checking diffuses. It feels like at this point, when you're in a clutch situation, like, do you think you could play a little bit differently just due to the nickname that you have, like being 100%. The Iceman? Yeah, like you use it to your advantage?
Yeah, there's definitely certain things that, especially when it comes to the bomb, that people like I've kind of burnt it out by this point, from having so many of these moments that people remember. So I know people are calling out on the other team like, oh, it's Lamar, he's gonna do this, like, or check this or whatever, blah blah blah. So like it's kind of a little mental game sometimes, especially versus certain players that I know, like that I'm friends with, and I talk to all the time or whatever it is. So when that happens, it's definitely in the back of my mind in those moments.
Yeah, I figured it had to have been like, dude, it's just, at this point, like people know, oh, it's Lamar, he's gonna do this. Like everyone has tendencies, but it feels like you could kind of do whatever the hell you want. Like you might have a tendency, but like you could just throw it out the window. Yeah, you just throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, he did it so often that I think I spoke a couple clutches into happening. Like I was casting him, I'm like, well, Lamar's last alive, he's gonna clutch this, and then he just does. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Make it look smart.
You haven't been casting our matches recently, or what's going on? Like, I don't get it.
We used to do that major, so we gotta get on more, because I feel like you versus FaZe is always a dude. Joe and I.
Yeah, can you cast one of them, please? Damn.
Dude, I think when we did the schedule at the last event, they just kind of put it out, but we saw we weren't on FaZe Seattle, and I was like, that was the one.
Yeah, we were pissed. Man. We were pissed. We love that series. It's always so good. It's always so good.
We have some wars with them.
Well, after you won 2 events, some bald jackass cursed you, and he's sorry.
Yo, you did. Actually, I have a bone to pick with you.
I forgot about that. That what was it? Trading shots. I used to decide
Yeah.
to rant. I don't even know why, dude.
I
just
know why. I
pissed.
remember because I was talking smack for sure.
I think you were talking smack.
I was
and like
talking
Theory
smack.
said something dumb on social or something. And I
Yeah.
just decided to rant, and I was like,
Yeah.
"You guys will." I think I just said, "You guys will never win again." And
Yeah,
then
we did it.
Well, at least they won station playoffs. You know, it
No,
wasn't
but
with
he
that roster.
uncursed us. He uncursed
Yeah.
us, and then we ended up winning. So it made it even funnier, like because you went on there,
Yeah.
okay, you guys are uncursed, you're good, and then we ended up
good.
winning soon after. And I was like, wow,
Dude.
this guy really.
I
gave
mean,
us blue
it's all
internets.
bullshit. But
This guy thought he was a demigod, dude. He still does,
Yeah.
dude. Do not, don't gas this guy up. We're done with him. We're done with
I
this
hear
dude.
it was crazy though,
Yeah.
honestly. But no, yeah, you guys. I mean, it was your first like incredible year. I mean, after all the crap you went through, like finally, I'm sure it just added some legitimacy to like how good you thought you were. I imagine it had to have just that year.
Oh yeah. 100%. I mean, up until that, even during the beginning of World War II, I was actually still in school while I was competing. But then after we went back to back, I finally was able to convince my parents and my family, like, yo, I just went
Well,
to
that's when the
tournaments in a
cash was getting up there, right?
Yeah,
that
I was like,
my- yeah.
exactly. I won 2 tournaments in a row, got an MVP. I was like, yo, can I stop going to school for a little bit? Because this was I finished my first semester of junior year, and I was doing chemical engineering. And my parents were like old school, you know, so they wanted me to like continue doing school, whatever it was. But I was like, I have this opportunity. I just did something insane. Like people don't really go back to back. And then my dad was like, all right, you could take like 1 semester off, and then we'll see how it goes. And he gave me that 1 semester, and I just haven't looked back since. You know,
That's amazing. That reminds me of when I had to call Jack's parents to convince them to let him drop out and be a commentator, bro. It was a tough phone call. But Joe actually had a question earlier, like around that, like just your family and stuff. Because everyone's parents, I think, have been a little bit different around gaming, like depending on like what generation, sort of. They've been very supportive, or they've been like, "That's fake, and it's witchcraft, and you're going to be kidnapped."
Yeah.
Like it's been very different. Through the struggles, like before World War II, when like you were really struggling, like what was, I guess, the family side like with it? I'm sure they were trying to get your ass in school and stop.
Yeah, I mean, there was no option for me to not be going to school and continue doing the competing. So I had to, the whole time I was playing, even all those years, like I was still doing school stuff and moving on that way. But there was always just like, you're just wasting your time. Like, what are you doing? Like, whatever. But then they kind of would like let it slide because I was still doing well in school. So it's like, all right, well, you're doing good in school, you're not getting in trouble, you're not doing anything. Like, what can we say? Like, you're spending your free time gaming. Like, all right, like it's all good. So, hey, I'll take the gas. I'll take it. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I was definitely doing some finessing to compete and play at the same time. You know, some GE classes like, yo, I don't want to take the psychology. I don't want to write the psychology paper. You know, slide them a little thing, write the paper for me. You know, let me focus on the competing and scrimming. So there's ways you had to finagle it a little bit, but it was a good experience for sure. It taught me a lot how to like balance 2 very important things.
I had a girl in every class in college that I'd flirt with, so she'd give me her notes, and then I wouldn't show up to class ever.
Yeah.
Okay, Rizzler.
No, Maeve's, listen, dude, you guys hear someone who's got to write a book. It's that guy. That guy's story is insane, dude. But yeah, didn't you like not go to class for like a whole semester to play Halo the entire time?
Yeah, one time I was playing. I was playing Halo C. There was a bunch of us together. We were drinking and having fun, and I wasn't in class. And my professor, I guess, asked where I was, and one of the people knew that I was playing, and they had my number. And the professor called me in front of the entire class and asked what I was doing, and I was drinking and playing Halo. And I told him I was drinking and playing Halo.
Yo, hey, that's tippable. I tip my hat to that.
Yeah, sounds about
Didn't
right.
do well in that class.
No, somehow you got a degree though. You're good.
Yeah, I got through it. All right, let's move on to kind of Black Ops 4. I mean, we really want to start getting into the CDL stuff, but at the beginning of that, you know, you end up being with Splice, which is one of the first like kind of international rosters, right? It's you, Temp, Jerd, Looney, and Aqua, I think it was for the 5-man. Like, what was that? I guess that sequence like. Oh, look at that, dude. He should be a supermodel, huh? Look at that. Or like, he'd be like a Batman villain. I don't know. He's got something going on there. But the 4v4, so you had your success, right? And then suddenly it's like, oh, hey, we were thinking like maybe, I don't know, Overwatch is cool. Let's play 5v5. Like, what was that whole transition like and everything you dealt with?
So, to be honest, that beginning period of Black Ops 4 was actually like a super, super important part of my career. I learned like an insane lesson during that time period. but going into that off season, of course, I thought I was on top of the world, World War II, like whatever.
That's what I figured. You had to feel
Yeah,
good.
I felt good, So I mean, we ended up with a good like deal with Splice and everything. The team was kind of known, I guess, as the Scraps because got left out of the 100T little roster mania situation at that time. And then, but like going into that beginning of Black Ops 4, we were the Scraps, but we were really good the first two tournaments. We definitely got cheesed out of our second win at Fort Worth with the Rampart. But the lesson that I learned during that time period was like, it was, I just got too egotistical at that time for me. Like just came off World War II, was in the finals of like, I didn't have the finals of the first one. We got third and then finals of the next one. So like, there's been like 12 tournaments. I've been in finals of like 6 or 7 of them. So for me, I'm like, man, no one can tell me nothing. Like, I'm the man.
I'm that guy.
Yeah. Like,
I'm the Iceman. I'm clutching and Surge.
Because I'm in every finals. Yeah. Like, no one talks to me.
Every player's like had that. I think everyone we've talked to, like Clay had that moment, Bance had that moment. Like, I feel like it just happens, right?
Exactly. So at that point, I was definitely getting a little toxic. Like, toxic in the way of like, oh, like we'd be practicing and it's like online. I'm like, this ain't real. He's on land. He's not even hitting me with a bullet. Like, this is fake, So then I started doing worse. And then the Splice team kind of got super toxic with everyone involved, and I got dropped. A lot of
hotheads. That's what I was saying when we were going through the notes. I was like, you, Donnie, Dan.
Yeah.
I remember some drama there. I just couldn't remember who was involved, but I remember there was definitely like drama with like Temp and Looney or you and Temp. Like, I remember it was definitely a shit show. But
exactly. So like I know my part. Like I know the part that I played in it, and it was definitely a huge lesson that I learned that I would like have never let myself make that mistake again, no matter what is going on. Like after that period, the most humbling moment I've experienced so far. Because I was thinking, no way I get benched ever. Like I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? And then I got benched, and I was like, wow, like, oh, wake up call. Like
this could happen.
Yeah, you can't be a douche. Like you have to be on point at all times. Because at a snap of a finger, like things can just change,
I think that's like applies to sports and gaming where like you just have to, I mean, I think to compete in the 0.01 percentile in anything, you have to be cocky. Like there has to be an absurd level of confidence. There just needs to be, but like towing the line of not just being a douchebag, like you said. And there are some superstars in gaming and in sports that can get away with being that, but you better be a goddamn lord.
Yeah.
Like you better be the best in your craft because otherwise it's not going to fly. It's not.
The second you're not, no one wants to put up with it, period.
I say it's that or have the right cast around you that can deal with that personality. Like that's really it. I mean,
I think it's Ted Lasso, bro. Bravo.
I mean, if you have a group of people that can deal with that big personality, then sure. But this was not a team that could. There was a lot of personality. There was a lot of personality there.
Yeah. And it was. I'm not gonna lie though. I will say openly, they all know this. That's by far the worst teaming experience I've had in my entire career. And we've all like now that we're all past it, like we've all talked about it and laughed about it. But at the time, like that was the most insane, worst 3-4 months of my life ever. Even though we had a couple good results. Yeah, we had a couple good results.
You guys were really
good. Yeah, we were really good, but it just wasn't like fun. And fun fact too, that was my first team ever in my whole career that was actually like all pros. Like before that, I was never like teaming with professional players, just like people on the come up. So I was being told like, yeah, this is just how it is on pro teams, and I'm like, what? I was like, I just played with TK for this last year. I know we weren't pros in the beginning, but like it wasn't like this. Like our team was amazing. Everything was amazing. Like blah blah blah. So it was just a funny experience, and I definitely learned a lot. I'm kind of grateful that it happened and played out the way that it did.
You know what's kind of weird? I'm pretty sure Dance had that same realization, and wasn't it also a Splice, Joe?
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah. World War II.
Same thing. It was like he was the up and comer. He had that realization. He had like some of the vets and like Tommy and
it was like IW in a World War II. That's what it was. Yeah,
but it was Splice, right? So it's just it's a Splice thing. It's their fault. Okay,
maybe that's what it is.
Just cursed. They're cursed with that.
A lot of people might not know this, but if you maybe didn't watch Black Ops 4 and Champs at that year, but you end up on EG. It's a roster of Exotic, Attach, Apathy, and JCap and yourself. And you guys didn't have a great year when you guys played together, but Champs, you guys almost beat United in winners. They had to have some Arsenal crazy one of the like best hardpoint comebacks
Nice.
ever.
You just
But
bringing up all the daggers. World War
I'm
II
sorry, I'm
champs. Arsenal.
I'm sorry. Like basically, listen. Hey, you turned it around. You turned it around is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. But like, I was just thinking about this. Like that could have changed the COD landscape because
that would have changed the history of COD, literally, right
yeah,
there.
EU United would have played 100 Thieves. I looked at it like way earlier in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
So that would have never been champs. Maybe those teams, who knows at that point, maybe one team explodes.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. Like you guys were this close from playing like units. Or you guys probably would have got top 3, top 4 or
minimum.
something.
Well, we would have got top 3 minimum, and then I had Donk and Cap and Dylan. They always beat Optic at champs.
Play Optic.
So we play Optic for top 3 for the finals. I'm like, yo, I got the 3 Optic stoppers. Like, sign me up. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And then we ended up choking at United. But joining that team was crazy because I went to the Anaheim tournament and I was benched at this point on Splice. I got released and I was like, I need to find a team. EG's 16th place. I walk in the pro lounge. I see Revan sitting there. I was like, yo, pick me up. He's like, all right, I got you after this tournament. I was like, all right, perfect. And then the tournament ends. It was literally day 1 of the tournament. He's like, all right, I got you after this tournament. I was like, perfect. Tournament ends. Join EG. They were 16th. We ended up becoming, like you said, pretty competitive after like I was on the team for like a month or 2 months, I think. We got pretty competitive, but that choke versus United literally would have changed the landscape of Call of Duty.
Do you ever go far down that like alternate history
Yes.
rabbit hole? I just think of it because like From All Mankind, Man in a High Castle, like those type of shows. It's like one moment in whatever, how it could have just changed.
Literally like a little butterfly effect. Like
like I sometimes go down that rabbit hole. I'm like, dude, what would have happened? Like,
Bro, they literally had me do that. You remember that like YouTube series I had to make, Maeve, in like CDLs, like the first year MW. It was like the end of MW, and they had me like pick out moments throughout the year. Like if the other team would have won or something. Dude, you probably
I forgot about that entirely, honestly.
Yeah, no, same until you started talking about it. But yeah,
you were casting my clutch in that series too. I had a 1v1 versus a BZ in the control to win the map. It was literally 1 life versus 1 life, round 5, and I won the 1v1 versus him, and it was just you yelling in the background. I was like, dude, I'm just blessed when he's here.
I swear to God, I've casted every goddamn big clutch you've had. Like I swear I have, because I just those are the moments I remember, and like it's weird as like a commentator. Like I don't know if Joe, you're the same, but like we've just been doing this. Funny story. I actually talked to Joe and I've been casting now together like 5 years, going on 6, and I was starting to think about the fact like we're getting close to being probably one of the longest esports duos of all time. And I hit up Tasteless because Tasteless and Artos has been going on like 13 years. I was like, do you know anyone else that's been going on like as long as we have? And they're like, no. So like, but anyway, when you've been going this long, like there's so many moments, right? But I feel like when I cast them myself, like the big moments, I don't know, they just stick in your head way more than if you're watching them. So like I remember so many years so well.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, now we go to the CDL. You end up on New York for MW. It was your I don't remember the team, but basically you guys didn't really get good until you added Mac. That was here we go. So you guys are all in New York. This is a roster, man. Talk about cash that they threw at this entire team. Wow. So Doug's in there, Tommy's there.
It was
so
me,
is it starting roster? You, Tommy, Temp,
Dylan, Trey.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then Happy, was he a sub?
Mm-hmm. Him and Doug.
Okay. Whew, yeah, man, that year 1, people had budgets, brother. Wow, and you guys are all in New York too.
Yeah.
Sheesh. So New York crazy. For you was a pretty it's kind of an up and down year. You guys get better with Mac. You guys win your week 11, your own events. Gonna kind of just go pretty quick through this year. You guys finished 7th, 8 champs.
Yeah.
I guess for you, I mean, the thing we always talk about with this year for everyone is this was COVID year. What was that like for you? Because you kind of talked about sort of that ego mindset with scrims and online. Did that help you in a situation like this?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because right after that Black Ops 4 thing happened to me in the beginning, I never let that happen to me again. like that's never happened to me the rest of my career since then. So coming into it, I was for sure like, yo, it just is what it is. Got to lock it in online. No one cares about your excuses. No one cares about the circumstances. No one cares about anything. This is the competition. It's going to go in the history books. It's going to count regardless of whatever the hell is going on, whether it's unfair, etc. Like, you just got to nut up and do what you got to do, So that was kind of the mentality that I had.
For a lot of players. I mean, you saw it at the time. I mean, I think everybody was going through it.
Like, I think teams that can get that mindset together and just not bitch about the game, not bitch about stuff and lock in, like, they usually
that's your only option. Like, if
hard to do.
you waste your time and your energy doing the other stuff, like, it's going to be you're just asking for failure. And then at the end of the day, no one's gonna go back and look like, oh yeah, during this time period it was COVID, so you get a pass. No one cares. Like in competition, excuses don't matter. You know.
I think it's responsibility and accountability are
that.
just like hard things, especially for, I mean, a lot of people growing up gaming. But if you can do it, more power to you.
I was curious. Were you guys in New York the entire time?
Yeah. So we were in New York City. So for me, going into this offseason, I romanticized this year so hard in my head. I'm like, yo, I'm moving to New York City with my best friend. We're on this sick team. Like, we're gonna be living the life. Like, too young. We were like 23 at the time or 22, like two 22-year-olds living in Manhattan, like vibing. This is gonna be so dope. The first 3 months were pretty cool, and then after that, it was just the worst city to be in ever during the beginning of COVID
That's
because
what
it
I
was
was saying.
super
This
locked
was
down.
ground zero, dude. Like I
Yeah.
remember pictures and documents. There was 0 people. Like
Yeah,
nobody
like,
was even
literally
on the street.
ghost town. Literally a ghost town. Like no one lives in New York to be in your apartment all day. You know what I'm saying? You go to New York so you could be out, you could do whatever, blah blah blah. So before COVID, that's what we were doing. We go to the office, come back, get dinner, like go out, come back to your apartment, maybe to stream or sleep. That's it, you know? So once COVID happened, you were just locked in the apartments and just stuck there grinding. Like it was hectic. I flew back to New York literally in like a hazmat suit, like because my family was so worried about COVID at the time when it happened. So I literally flew back to New York because we went to LA for that tournament. Then I had to go back to New York. They're like, yo, you can't go. You gotta wear like hazmat suit, this and that. Like it was such a funny experience.
I can't. I picture like ET, dude. Was like,
Yeah, that's the way it was. Like the flight attendants were literally taking pictures of me on the plane. It was like me and like 2 other people on the whole plane because no one was flying. Like this was literally when COVID like first started and the lockdown started in March or whatever it is, and no one's flying. I walked in and they were like laughing, like, "Yo, we got to get pictures with you." I'm like posing with the flight attendants like on the plane in like a hazmat suit.
Dude, I lived there a couple years.
Yeah.
So like I get the New York experience, but like, and I'm someone that like, I mean, COVID was kind of okay for my personal life because I just worked a lot more. I was busy and I had a home. But like if I was in New York at the time, I would have gone insane. Like Kat's sister lived in New York and she ended up staying with us for like most of like a year and a half because she's just like it's just not New York. Just
For all the footage, even nowadays, that come like Netflix documentaries and stuff that I see, it's actually wild. Like literally, people weren't on the street at all.
Because we lived right across the street from the stock exchange. So where we lived was super busy all the time in the beginning. And then after that, like I would look out the window and it's just like those little movies, like the little hay thing is just rolling across the street. Like there's no one.
So you're watching I Am Legend or something.
Yeah, literally absolute ghost town, 0.
Wild. It's like creepy. It's so weird.
Yeah. So I mean, kind of an okay year for you, I would say. Like on New York, whatever.
We won one, like whatever. We won one, and it was our own, so I guess it meant a little more. But like that's it.
Yeah. You go to Minnesota next. Next, we're in a Cold War. You're with you and Attach. Who's your best friend. You join Priestess and Major.
Mm-hmm.
You guys get a top 4 once they bench Major, and you guys bring Standy in. And I just think now, I think everybody was like, this roster, like, especially looking now, like attaches a main AR. Like you guys just, it wasn't the right build up at the time, was it?
Definitely not. And the way that roster mania went was pretty funny. Actually, it was like me and Attach looking for 2 on Minnesota. We get the call like, yo, we might be getting Priesta, blah, blah. And then Priesta really wanted Major. And this is kind of where it's a mistake that I regret for sure. Now looking back at it, of course, at the time I was kind of like, I don't know if we should do that, but I was like, damn, Priest is like a super mega star that we're bagging, so like let's do what makes him happy. He wants him, like, all right, let's just do it and try to make it work. Definitely was not the right play at all, because that team was a disaster.
Or main ARs basically.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Yeah, that team was a disaster. So
you're not wrong though. I mean, Priest and Major were both on FaZe. I mean, they were getting top 2 like all year.
Yeah, exactly.
You were just in the situation like, we gotta make this dude is. When he went from Thieves to FaZe, you're like, this is
like he wants to play with us. He wants to play with us, and he wants to play with this guy. Sign us up. I don't know where he's like.
At the time, Priest was taking over the damn league. Like, I mean, he was just. There were moments, I mean, IW and stuff where I thought he was the next like god, and I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So then, bring Standy in, bench Major, then you follow a top 4 with like I think you guys get like last or
that was like, during that Ramadan split where I was getting slammed on my head, big time. I was getting destroyed. So it was kind of
sounds like it was a good time.
Yeah. So we went good, like we were very competitive. we went very competitive to that happening, and just at that point, it's kind of like, what do? You either they keep believing in me, or there's another person on the bench that's very capable, and it's like, well, what do? You either take the gamble, do nothing, or take the gamble. So they wanted to take the gamble, and I completely understood it at the time. I was like, this performance the last month has been inexcusable. So if you guys want to do it, like, I don't blame you. It is what it is.
So are you like telling people like it's Ramadan? Like, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking anything. Like,
oh yeah, they knew. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, like in competition, your circumstances, your performance, like the circumstances, the excuses, the whatever, like no one cares. The only thing that matters is the results. And at the end of the day, you're not getting the results. You're not producing. Things are gonna happen. So.
You have a very mature answer, and I respect the hell out of it. But I'd be like, listen, guys, can we see how Lamar plays with a water bottle in a protein bar? Like, let's give him a set of scrims, please. Like, we were top 4. I get it. Let's give him a set. Like, give him one week of practice. Like, please. Like, I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me to hear that.
Was it? Was it like? It's probably because I gotta imagine that's kind of a. I don't know if uncomfortable or awkward is the way to word it, but like for the team side, like, it's something you have to do, but it's like the results aren't there. And I imagine that was around when CDL points were incredibly important and you're making the run for champs. And I can't imagine that was like an easy thing for them, but I don't know. I just I get it from both sides. Like for you, it's like no excuse, it is what it is. But for them, I don't know. I'm sure they felt kind of ass about it, I would think. But
I mean, the thing is, like, it's a circumstance that I'm putting myself in. It's my religion, it's my faith. I'm choosing to do this. And if it's impacting the people around me or impacting myself to impact them or whatever it is, like, it's my responsibility. And if I can't perform during that time period, then it's just on me. Like,
when was it again? Like within the year?
It was right after stage
3. It's 3.
Yeah. Stage 3. Stage 3.
So that was the ramp up to champs. Do you think if it was like, let's say alternate
I think
history,
everybody made champs though. Everyone made it.
If it was like earlier in the year, do you think? I don't know if there's less pressure maybe on the year that would have happened.
I don't think it mattered when it was in the year.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Like it was bad. I was playing really bad. So that's just it's just the way it is. I mean, that's the way it is in COD. Like, yeah, if you're not performing in COD, especially like, and your team's not like fully like locked in, like doesn't have like that unwavering faith in each other, and you have like a bad couple weeks, even that could plant that seed to break your team up. So that's just what happened.
Okay.
Well,
and then what from there? One thing that Joe's been kind of saying with a lot of these years, and I have too. It's like it's been a lot of like kind of up and downs, right? Like you've had either wins. Good runs.
Oh, you're not wrong. This is a book, Lamar.
This is every year. It's just this, and now we get to current times, and guess what? Seattle has been
another book, literally a movie.
It's still just a roller coaster when it comes to results. But you end up landing on Seattle. I know we were just hyped about the org and everything, and you're building this team with they obviously built that. What they thought was going to be an all-star roster at the beginning of the CDL, and that didn't really pay off. But you come into this and you get these two. It's a reset, yes, and you get these players, Pred and Sib, which I guess I'm curious. We know what they are now. Like they are two of the better rookies or young players we've ever seen. Did you know that right away, or was it frustrating at first?
Sib, I knew was an auto lock. Like coming into it, I was begging another pro team didn't pick him up. I was just crossing my fingers every day when I was talking to him, like, what's the situation? Like, please, I knew he was going to be different coming in. To be honest, with Pred, I had, like, no really information on him. And then I was like, yo, send me some of his VOD. Like, I want to watch it. And then I watched his VOD. I was like, okay, this kid's good. And then I also talked to him like that. I was doing that vetting process, doing. So I was talking to him, and I was like, okay, this guy's, like, really good at sports. He's, like, normal human being, this and that. And I was like, he has that. I could tell just from the conversations we were having. I was like, he has that dog in him. Like, he's the type of person that will get up on that main stage no matter who we're playing. get a 2-piece or 3-piece and get up and start yelling at the other people. And I was like, that's like, you need that on the come up. You need that type of energy. So after I had that conversation with him and like watched his VOD, I was fully sold. I was like, yeah, this is a lock. I even told him, I was like, yo, by the way, like, I don't know if you're locked in on Seattle yet, but like, if you end up wanting to go somewhere else, like, I'm down to roll. Like, let's go. If we need to go to a different team, like during that off-season roster mania. So I was sold after I had the conversation and like watched VOD. And then I kind of knew, like I knew that if they actually played to the potential that everyone saw in them, that we'd be able to do amazing things. And quickly in the beginning of the game in scrims, like they were running amok on teams. Like we were going weeks without losing maps, and they're just dropping 40 every map, going on 10 killing sprees. And I was like, yo, like this is it. Yeah, like this is it, you know?
Well, I think like it's interesting because I think I kind of felt the same way in that like Sib, I'd heard of, but I don't like follow the amateur scene as much as I do the pro scene. It's been doing it so long, I just focus on what I'm commentating. But like, I definitely don't follow like what's going on in French Call of Duty or Australian Call of Duty. I definitely don't pay attention to that. So like when I hear like people that pop up my radar, like I would just see on just on Twitter and conversations, just literally aware of like I saw Pred like being compared to like Simp in Australia. Same with like Hydra. Like I saw Hydra. Like I don't know anything about the scene over there, but I kept seeing the name pop up, and it was the same way with Pred. So it was one of those things where I just sort of, I guess I just assumed he was good because like if it is on my radar, it's being talked about that much, he must be something. And yeah, he
you see something for sure.
Yeah, what was it? I guess for you, like they were so talented. Do you think it was pretty? You've had this leadership tag and all the experience and all the up and downs. Was it frustrating for you, or do you think it was more just you really helped them kind of develop? Like, what was that relationship like?
I mean, personally, for me, I love that process of like passing on that experience and knowledge. Like, it's all it's fun. You're in that room with your bros, like trying to achieve a goal every day, like get better. Like that process to me is fun. I enjoy that process. So coming into it, like just from playing in the beginning, I could just watch like eye test. I'm like, all right, these kids are godlike. Like they know they're hitting every bullet. Like they just have to learn some like the basic fundamentals, and that took a little bit to get in there. But once they picked up the fundamentals, then once that's solid, you can start developing like a little further in-depth thing. And I want to take literally zero credit for how godlike they are, because they're just different, so like those kids are insane.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, it's obvious just watching it's an eye test with them. Like they're that talented. But I got imagine just being new to the league and rookies, I'm sure your experience helped a bit. Joe, you mentioned like kind of.
Well, were you guys in Dallas at this point? This is Dallas, right?
Yeah,
at this point, okay, like everybody was kind of. I was just curious, like Pred, like I mean, coming from a different continent, was he kind of like? Were you just making sure he was good, like kind of being like that, exactly. Like a dad, like
like we're just like had to. That's kind of what we did with
his HVAC suit.
With him and just everyone. Like to be honest, this team's pretty special to me. And if people actually knew the inner workings of our team and the experiences and everything we've like done and gone through the last 2 years, we're all really, really close. Like we hang out, we do a bunch of stuff, especially like in the beginning too, when everyone was getting to know each other. Like we were together 24/7, basically. Go to practice, leave practice together, go do whatever, go dinner, go hang out, like non-stop relentlessly. We were just together 24/7. So that was kind of the vibe, and I knew that like that's something that I try to take pride in, that I try to create that team culture, where everyone's comfortable with each other, because that makes it easier in the practice room and easier on the stage and everything. So like knowing that he's coming from a different country, knowing like Max basically second time moving out, COVID I guess doesn't really count. Sure. Like he's actually in a different environment with people interacting with us, and then Sib moving out here too. Like
wow, that's crazy. You were the dad.
Yeah, like a bunch of young kids. Like we knew that we needed to build that like brotherhood and camaraderie, because I mean we're all here alone. Everyone left their families. You're the only people you have, So if you don't build that connection, then people's mental health can start going down, and everything like that, which can just be a trickle down effect to performance and everything. So to me, it was very important to build that culture like in the beginning and make sure we're all friends and like having fun and doing stuff and all that type of
I think it helps too. Like you guys as players and Ors kind of made Dallas sort of like your guys' HQ, right? I think that had to have helped. That's you were living with Austin, right? In Vanguard?
Yeah,
you were living with Austin. Like there was, I don't know the amount of teams, but I feel like yes, you guys are competitors, but I mean, even in the pro league back when we were in Columbus, like everybody was going to the gym, basketball, getting
vibing.
food, like vibing. I feel like that absolutely helps sort of your situation, because if it's just you by yourself with those three who are brand new to this experience, that would, no matter who it is, it would be tough.
Yeah.
So you guys, it's kind of an up and down year. But you, as we've been saying, but you win Major 3.
Yeah.
And I think for you, I'm just curious because I don't know the time difference. What was the last time you went on LAN at this point? Was it Stage 2 playoffs?
Yeah.
So I obviously you won with New York online, but like for you to be back on stage and win, like what was that moment like? Because there's a stretch there, right? Like there's a good amount of time in between those wins.
Yeah, it was I mean, it was surreal. It was very validating. It felt good. It felt not just good, it felt insane. Like just that feeling, that knowing like, okay, we're back on LAN. It's the first full season on LAN. I didn't get to compete on LAN in Cold War because I got dropped. Like it was, for me, it was like if I don't do something this season, it's like, damn, like do I still got it? You know what I mean? Because you finally get a chance, you're on LAN. I clearly have capable teammates. Like this is the moment. So for me personally, it was very validating, and that's a win that I'll definitely cherish forever.
Well, it's just crazy because, you kind of said how you felt after the end of World War II, like on top of the world.
Yeah.
My God, you get that wake up call, and then 4 years later, that's like the next win. Like, I'm sure it was. I know there's some online stuff, but yeah, that had to have tested you, I imagine.
Oh yeah, it definitely felt really good.
I gotta segue this now. Okay, so you guys win Major 3, and then the next stage you guys get 9 through 12, and then you guys get third at champs. You've had some insane series with champs. This year you
Tuscan,
go,
bro. Woo.
This year you go Major 1 second, Major 2 9 through 12, Major 3 5th through 6th, Major 4 7th through 8th. I got what is it like? We all know how good of a team you guys are, how talented you are. What the heck is it where you guys just go from second to 9 through 12, first to like a 9 through 12? Like, is it going from LAN to online? Like, I mean, are you trying to figure it out? Like, what's going on?
If I had the answer for you, it wouldn't be happening. Okay.
I thought he was gonna say, look at what the cons we're playing, Joe.
What do you think is the best? Or I guess your best guess.
I would say in the Vanguard year. In the Vanguard year is probably an essence of like complacency, maybe a little bit. Like, okay,
after winning.
Yeah, after winning, like winner's curse that happens to some people, like it might happen to some teams. Sometimes teams win and they kind of just like, you let your foot off the gas a little bit, you get a little complacent. That's probably what made us lose for Major 4 in Vanguard. And then after that we realized like, oh my God, like it's champs, like everyone wake up again. And then we went to champs, got third again. So like, that was for me for Vanguard. That's probably the explanation for that. For this year, I mean, I'll be honest with you, this year's just been insane. Like, it literally insane. Like, there's so much stuff behind the scenes, like just even like in my personal life and like other people's lives that have been going on that we've never really spoken on publicly. That it's been a battle for sure. It's been a war this year that we haven't like really let out to the public.
Sure.
Well, I'm not gonna make you talk about anything you can't. It's not public. But there was some stuff that was very public. Kind of the Pred stuff and all the rumors that he was going to be going to Optic. And I know you talked about the fact that you created this sort of family environment and boys and trust, and you worked on that. But like, it was very dramatic on the outside, like on Reddit and on Twitter and stuff. Was it any cause of chaos internally, or was it nothing?
It was absolute zero drama on our end. It was like. It was like we're not the type of team to like do things like behind each other's back, be shady and just like blah blah blah. It was kind of like the opportunity presented itself. We all got on a call, talked about it. We're like, yo, this is the situation. I was like, yo, if it happens, like I'm happy for you, bro. Like, God bless. Like it is what it is. It's a great opportunity. Completely understand.
Anyone
would be taking the offer. If it doesn't happen though, cool. We're back in the lab and let's get back to work. So there was like zero animosity, anger, or anything from our end internally. It was definitely like blown way out of proportion on what was happening with us from the outside.
The guy can't start a stream, dude, without them. Dude, I'm literally in his stream sometimes just lurking, and it's just Optic fans just like, yo, they should drop Hook for you, dude. Like, no doubt about it. And then it's someone else is just like, no, dude. Hook shots here is just like, wait, like there's literally people discussing it from start to finish, and he just looks over and he just keeps playing. And I'm just like, dude, the guy like is literally in the middle of a season. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So
like on our end, crazy. it was like we understood the situation. I mean, no one in their right mind would ever be holding that against someone in a situation like that, you know? So it's kind of like, we know you're not like, oh, like screw these guys, like I don't like them anymore, we're trying to leave. Like that wasn't the environment, that wasn't the situation. It was kind of just like, this is a once in a, I guess, lifetime opportunity. You want to take it, like, as your boys, and not just your teammates, like as your friends. You know, we understand.
Yeah, it does kind of suck though. You guys did just get second, right?
Yeah.
Come on, like, come on, like we literally were so close to winning.
Yeah,
and I think we kind of figured it was like that, like because I just rationally, but you know how it all gets blown up on social and everyone goes crazy. But I think it was just like
the league's at a different point too. I feel like everyone's so mature at this point. Obviously, there can be drama, but like I think everyone kind of gets like the most part. This is a business, right?
I think it's the fact that you guys like got top 12 then too. It's like that on top of it. Like I think if you guys were still performing around where you were, it probably would have like slowed down or not as been dramatic. But I think coupled with how you guys were playing, even I at one point was sort of like, maybe they're dealing with some stuff. Like it sort of enter my brain just because the results weren't there.
Yeah, I mean that's the right of the fans. That's what they're gonna do. You know, people do that with every sport or whatever it is. You're going to think of anything to try to connect the dots.
Humanity, it's just normal.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes, you know. It's part of the game.
So you guys end up sticking together. You guys do get 9-12. Okay, so then, we talked about sort of the online to LAN thing throughout Vanguard, but this year's been a little different. You guys have had some really good online stretches now. Stages 3 and 4, you go 4-1. 4-1 in both. I guess what isn't translating from those online matches to LAN for you?
I mean, shit, if you want me to be honest, the way we lost has been literally like a freaking movie scene. Like the round 11 Hipfire Cheese versus FaZe. But if we win that, we're top 3 and riding full momentum. Like we went into that series like, if we win this, we're winning the tournament. You know, that was like a grand finals matchup in our eyes. We end up losing round 11 and then playing an hour later, completely demoralized, losing round 11 game 5, trying to bounce back. That's a very uphill battle, you know. So like I know, like I said before, I've said already many times, like the results aren't there and no one cares, but when you actually look at it, we've lost in some insane ways.
Crazy,
like
dude.
We've lost in some ways. Like it's actually unbelievable, but it's only right because we also won in insane ways in Vanguard. So that's just the Juju man getting his lick back. You know, we're getting the other end of the spectrum, you know. So we were due for it, I guess. And then this major, like the way we lost to Rocker, like it might not seem insane, but if you watch it, series should have been over in the control. 3-1. Vance ran out with 20 seconds left and popped a 2-piece out of thin air and somehow stayed alive. And then they win the control. You blink, you're game 5, and then it's like, whoa, like what's going on? You know, so like, of course, like I said, the results aren't there at the end of the day. No one cares about the intricacies of it. But to us, we know, like, because we care about the intricacies, you know, we know what's going on. So we're like, damn, like this has been insane. Like Major 2, we got eliminated with double cruise missile team kill. Major 3, the FaZe round 11 Hipfire happens, and then Major
cruise.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God,
that's what I'm saying. Come on, bro. I didn't. Don't worry. So like,
writing that book, dude. The book's getting longer. This is a couple of chapters here. Yeah, dude.
So like, it's been for us. It's been insane, man. Like insane looking at the intricacies of it, but we know that we're right there. Like, we can do it. You know, so. Is just putting our heads down, grinding, getting into overdrive, and close out this season.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Major 5 now. Well, Stage 5 for you guys. You guys have Ultra, Optic, Boston, New York, and Vegas. I mean, this is a
we got a gauntlet.
This is a split here.
Where were they on the strength of schedule? Because who was number 1?
We were second. It was Paris or Vegas, then us.
Yeah. So obviously, this is a split for you. Now, for me, there's 2 ways to go about this. I'm just curious. Do you think? I would say this is probably a good thing because we're at the end of the year, right? Major 5. You know, we're as crazy as this seems, 6 weeks away from champs. I want some practice, but the other thing is like you probably don't want to start in a losers bracket.
Yes.
So how you feel about sort of this split?
The biggest thing is one, it's a good thing to play all these good teams, good reps. But at the end of the day, you need to start winners bracket. That's always the most important thing. Like I think points wise, we're fine as long as we make winners bracket. Like, well, we're good. So you just want to get to winners bracket, play well at the tournament, ride that confidence momentum going into champs. So that's like the mindset.
Okay.
And if you do well right now, it's going to carry out the rest of to close out the season for you, because you're playing all these good teams, you have that confidence, the momentum, everything like that. And then if you want to be like, I guess optimistic on the other side is like, well, I guess if you like play tight games and lose, you still have a lot to learn to like carry over also.
Get ready for it, champ. Like if we're going to lose, kind of like last year for you, right? It was sort of like obviously you won and then but it was like if you're gonna have a 9 through 12 and a wake up moment, why not have it be right before champs? Obviously you don't want to deal with that.
You don't want that at all. Yeah,
you don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah,
you want to keep up that sort of good good form, especially that you guys have had online. Grace, I mean, you guys excited to get back to Toronto because that's where you won it last year?
Oh yeah,
kind of defending your.
I love Toronto, bro.
Yeah, I know it's a Toronto podcast, but maybe we run that city. I don't know. But personally, I love Toronto. That's probably the place where I individually felt like I had like the most fans. Like people were chanting Iceman everywhere I walked. I was going to get ice cream randomly at like 1 a.m. and like people were stopping me like, oh my God, the Iceman, like I love you. I was like, yo, this is kind of cool. Like I hadn't experienced it that much in a city like in a long time.
That's how we felt. I mean, honestly, the fans were incredible, bro. They were so nice. Like everyone was just so.
Oh, it's Canada, eh?
I loved it. It was really
that event was super dope, and I love the city, so we're excited to go back.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess just before we get some community questions for you, I mean, where is sort of Seattle Surges or where's your biggest focus right now to kind of finish this year out strong?
Biggest focus is making sure we master the win conditions and close out games when we're ahead.
Okay, I like that. Search and destroy as well. Search.
Yeah, same thing with Search. We've improved a lot in Search, but we got to continue that trajectory. It's still not enough. Like, we're such a good respawn team that if we can get like above 50-50 in Search, that makes every series like dangerous.
Well, what you said just applies to Search. When you're 3v2s, when you're 4v3s, like when you have those edges, close it out.
Yeah, exactly. Just close out things when you have the lead. You have to take the freebies. If you have freebies versus good teams and you don't take them, that's when things get mixy and crazy. So you got to be able to close out those freebie situations.
Makes sense. Yeah, I love it. And don't get hit fired by Sim. All right, we're going to go to some community questions. Just a couple of questions before we head out from Twitter. If you want to get involved, everybody, make sure you follow Ultra on Twitter before our podcast. They tweet out. So you can ask your player or us a question. Dylan Scythe wants to know if you have a go-to routine before you play a match.
The only thing I do consistently every single time before I play a match is I just say a prayer, lock it in, and then that's it.
Now it's not as good of a time for a joke, but I was hoping that you like took an ice bath like beforehand. Ice man get locked in, but okay.
For the longest time, the night before my games, I used to ice my hand though. No joke.
All right, there we go.
Smart, you gotta take care of your hands. Greg, JG Timlin wants to know what was your perspective thoughts on the infamous 3-piece versus Optic in Cold War.
I was shell shocked, bro. Like we literally, it happened, and I was just like, "What? What is life?" Literally, I was just like, "What is life, man? I don't know." I used all my good luck for that year in that moment because I got dropped right after. So I used all my COD luck and ability for that one moment, man, for that season,
dude.
That's gonna go down.
I don't even think I reacted at first because we were still online. And I was like, I had to watch the kill cam. I don't even think I knew. I don't even remember. I think you were yelling. Obviously, they line up.
I don't know. Listen, I'm an idiot. Well, I'm not actually an idiot. I'm a giant jackass. And like, I struggle with focus on certain things. But for whatever reason, like in those moments, my brain's usually, I might miss something, but my brain usually sees what I need to see. And I just think I saw the kill feed or something. I just knew you killed 3. Could have told you how. I had to watch back 5 times. But I knew enough to call it right. But I just remember at the end, I was like, what the shit? Like, It was
Trust
unbelievable.
me, I was like, what the shit too? Literally mind blown. Like I started fist bumping, my teammates were yelling. I turn around, look over, Brian saying he's yelling so loud, it looks like his head is literally about to explode. We're all just like, bro, what just happened, man? Like, I don't know, that was surreal.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I wish we weren't casting it, dude, online at the time. Just like Joe and I would have been kissing each other, hugging.
Imagine
What,
that
dude?
on LAN. Oh my god.
Oh, dude.
Oh, that yeah. There was a lot of those moments. A lot of those moments, dude.
Yeah,
I wish. Last one. This is from Closeout. Wait, is this guy's at cracking your nuts? It definitely is. This guy wants to know, how does it feel to have several call-outs named after you in every single COD?
It feels good, you know. I'm the spot finder, and people just love those spots, and then everyone
love
starts
Lamar.
using them. Yeah, and they
Lamar.
just start calling them Lamar spots, you know. So I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a little thing to take pride in.
100%. 100%. Well, I mean, dude, we appreciate you joining us tonight, taking time out of the
thank you.
week.
Thank you guys for having me on. This was super
No
dope.
problem. It was
We
fun.
got the stage coming up. What matches start
Yeah.
Friday?
Yeah.
Maeve, anything you want to add?
No, dude, I appreciate you. It's been you've made some really special moments for me as a commentator and the fans. Like, you are a beast, dude. Like, it's
Thank you, man.
some of those memorable
Appreciate it.
moments ever. So thank you for those, and thank you for coming on. But
Bro,
That'll do it.
I can't believe, dude, this, like, talking about your career is actually insane. We were typing shit out, and I think I typed 6 times. I was like, how does he keep going? I couldn't believe it. Bro, like, you dude, props to you. Props to you.
Thank you,
Just
man. I
like
appreciate
taking care of the next situation, because I would have been going through it. I mean, I don't know. Wow.
Thank you
All
guys
right.
for giving me a good platform to be able to tell that story, because I feel like a lot of this stuff
That's
I
awesome.
haven't really got out there to really tell people, because it's just like whatever, no one doesn't matter anymore, you know, it's the past. But
well,
super dope.
I think like the CWL or CDL and stuff has done like player spotlights, but you know, it's always like a long interview that's condensed into a 9-minute YouTube video. Like, we just want to do something where, more stuff about your lives can come out. So it was really cool to hear all that. But that'll do it. Thank you guys for watching the Toronto Ultra Merc and Maven podcast featuring accuracy. If you want to be clutch, you just have to wear an HVAC suit on an airplane. Maybe take an ice bath and make love to those that you love. Everyone have a great evening.